So a very good evening to my online students as well, and a very good evening to all of you. First of all, thank you so much for having this patience and for waiting for this session to begin. There was some delay, of course, but we'll make up for it. We'll make sure that whatever you studied today should definitely be converted into marks in your UPSC Prelims mains and interview. Now, one of the things that I want to make it clear in the beginning only on the onset, that we are having this session on the budget 2026 specifically designed for UPSC exam. So if you are preparing for UPSC and you are planning to appear in the exam, this should be a useful session for you. So we have extracted the content from the budget in such a way that you do not need to change anything from there. You can simply take the content, use it at various places to answer questions in prelims in form of MCQs, and also to create some amazing answer for your mains exam. One of the interesting thing about budget is that it is not only applicable for GS paper 3, but you can also use the content from here to answer questions in GS paper 2 as well as other areas. And of course, it's very useful for interview also. So in that context, guys, let us start the session and let us see what are the areas that we can extract from the budget. Now this year, I have decided to convert this budget lecture into a series having 3 parts. So today is part number 1. This part we are dedicating to 2 things. One, what is the theme of the budget this year? Every budget has a theme. So we are going to see that in what context the budget was drafted this year. What is the theme, number 1? Number 2, we are going to take the most challenging part of the budget in today's session. And the challenging part is the numbers, the data, right? So because when you look at the budget, the first thing that haunts us is how to handle the data, what to do about the numbers. There are so many things in the budget, how to extract it. So that is the thing that we are going to handle in today's session. So today's session would be, if you ask me, I can call it as budget through numbers, right? So this is session number 1. Now, without wasting time, let us go into the details of the budget. Ye dekhiye bachcho, see. So this is annual financial statement budget for 2026. Have a look at this team. What comes to your mind when you see this whole team which prepared the budget? To my online and offline kids, I'll tell you. In future, it should definitely happen by the virtue of your hard work that your picture should also be here. And you should be the one making some amazing policies for this country so that the next 20, 30 years of India is in safe hands. So make sure that you prepare yourself in such a way that you also contribute directly. And I'll be so proud, I'll be so happy that one day you are attending this session as a student, another day, another year, sometime later, you will be the one giving policies and I'll be the one explaining it to the next generation. What a beautiful day that will be, isn't it? So with that hope and optimism and that passion, you should be understanding the things that is given in the budget. Now, see this, bachcho. Something very interesting. देखो, ऐसे होता है that whenever the government of India makes any plan or policies, be it budget or be it anything, we as citizens of this country keep on waiting for that wow moment, isn't it? That in the budget, there must be something for all of us. So for example, in the budget, if government of India says, I'm going to give 10,000 rupees to everyone, we'll say, wow, right? So for example, in the budget, government of India will say that, foreign trips are cheaper. And especially given the context that there are so many countries where India has visa-free entry, like your favorite country, Thailand. So when we find these kind of things in the budget, what do? We celebrate that going to foreign country, etc. Don't have to pay taxes. So happy. But if you look at this budget, no, you will not find so many wow moments in the budget. So if you're looking for wow moment, you will not find it, number 1. Number 2, why are we even looking at wow moments? We should be looking at potential questions and answers for UPSC. Our agenda should be very clear. But why is that wow moment missing from the budget? So as to say, ऐसा नहीं है that there is no wow moment, but you won't find too many wow moments. Why is it missing? मैं बताता हूँ. Almost if you go like 5-6 months back from now, you will see that the government of India had already implemented GST 2.0, which means GST reform already announced. Wow moment. Labor reforms already announced. Wow moment. Normally, what do you see in a budget? You will see that in a budget, the government of India would give you something really interesting, something really new, call it a package or something like that. But this year, what has happened is most of the things that the government wanted to, they have already been doing it since last 5-6 months. So in the budget, you will see that there are very few things which are meant for short term. You will see most of the things in the budget which is meant for long-term perspective. That is why if you ask me what is the tone of this budget, I'll call this tone as a very subtle. I'll also call this as a long-term oriented budget instead of short-term budget. So this is my take on the budget to begin with. Now, before going into the details, I must tell you that, as I've already told, that today's session is all about extracting the points from the budget, which is related to theme and some numbers for UPSC purpose. So I'm making it very clear that this discussion will not be political at all. We are not here to support or oppose anybody. We are here to extract the right amount of content for the exam purposes. Our agenda is very clear. Now, with that clear agenda, here, what is the first thing I want to show you? Look at this, please. 29 December 2025. Look at the term. The term says India's Goldilocks moment, high growth and low inflation. Now, this is the context of the budget. So let us see in what context the budget was designed. So budget was being designed at a time when IMF and Government of India, they were all saying that India is undergoing certain moment called as Goldilocks moment. Ye kya hota hai? What is Goldilocks moment? So Goldilocks moment actually is a period of relative stability in economy. Achha, how do you measure the economic stability, guys? If you want to answer, you can definitely bataiye. How do you measure online and offline? If I ask you, how do you find out whether an economy is undergoing a stable situation or not? By looking at micro things or macro things? Macro, brilliant. And what are the macroeconomic indicators which help you to understand that there is relative stability? Inflation. So inflation should be high, low, or moderate. Moderate inflation is a good idea. Very nice. Number two, what about GDP? GDP should be stagnant, low, or increasing trend. Increasing. So number one is GDP should show increasing trend. Number two, inflation should be moderate. Number three, what about balance of payment? Should we spend more, or should we, sell more, or should there be a balance? Balance. Because it is not possible for a country to manufacture everything on its own. Every country has to purchase something, but our purchases should not be very high, isn't it? So which means that our balance of payment somewhere should be strong. Okay. Now, what about Forex reserve? Forex reserve should be very high, low, or sufficient for us for our survival. Sufficient. It should be high, but if it is low, at least it should be sufficient for us so that if any wrong thing or crisis-like situation happens, our Forex reserve should have that power to bail us out. Isn't it? Which means that even if it's not very high, but it should not be very low also. It should be sufficient enough for us. What should be the employment scenario for the country? Is it possible to have zero unemployment? Ye ho sakta hai? No. There is always some unemployment. Somebody is always out of the job market saying, I want to get more training. I want to get a better job. Something like that. What is that concept called as in economics? No, it is called as natural rate of unemployment. Natural rate of unemployment would mean that in the economy, you will always find that some level of unemployment to 100% will always be there. So what is the scenario of employment and unemployment for India? Is the situation really great that there is no unemployment? No, unemployment is there. Number one. Number two, there is one deep problem that India is suffering from. That is called as youth unemployment. And if you look at the unemployment figure, I know that the formula of unemployment used across the world is not a great formula. But whatever the formula may be, but the unemployment figures of India, if you see carefully, you will see two types of figure. One is total unemployment, which according to the government figures in the budget and the survey is roughly around 3.2%, 3.3%. And if you look at youth unemployment, that is very high. That is close to 10%, 8 to 10%. That is not good. So the economic survey and the budget both have mentioned this year that unemployment is showing a stable trend, but it is not jumping a lot, it is not improving a lot. It has stabilized itself, but we need to improve. So Goldilocks is a situation which does not say, I'll dictate that to you. So Goldilocks is not a situation which says everything is, hunky-dory, everything is fine. It says that even if something is sort of negative, but it is not becoming more negative every day. It is stable. So the newspapers, the IMF, the Government of India, Niti Aayog, they were all saying that India is going a Goldilocks moment, not because everything is fine, but whatever is bad also is not becoming too bad every day. It has some sort of stability to it from where we can improve. Okay? So if somebody will ask you what is Goldilocks moment, does Goldilocks mean that everything is fine, all the indicators are awesome? No, that is not correct. Goldilocks means some indicators are great, some are stable, some might not be great, but it doesn't mean that we are undergoing a recession. It means that we have stabilized. You think, is it okay? Please write. Goldilocks is a situation of relative economic stability, in terms of macroeconomic indicators. Macroeconomic indicators like inflation, unemployment, balance of payments, BOP, balance of payments, GDP, and so on. GDP and so on. Very good evening to my online students, those who have joined us now. So this is gold. By the way, bacho, always remember one thing. Abhi soch ke dekho, think about it. You open the budget document and start reading them one by one, line by line. Right? It doesn't help. Because we are not here for elections. We are not here to campaign for somebody or campaign against somebody. हम यहाँ पे है because we are supposed to extract the right points from here and convert it into exam points. So whenever you read budget or a standard document like economic survey, there must be a notebook in your hand, a handout for reference, a notebook where you can write one line, two lines, which can be asked in the exam. That is the whole purpose of coming to the class, number one. Number two, if you come to attend a session, you should make sure that when you leave the class, the content that was delivered from there, the most important point should be filtered out and it should be present in your notebook so that there is something to revise. If you cannot revise a content after the class, that content is literally redundant and useless for you. So we should make the notes in such a way that after the class we should be able to revise. So हम वही करेंगे. We are going to make notes today, just like a normal class, online and offline, so that after the class we should be able to revise. So आप तैयार रहो. You are my warriors. You should have your pen and paper ready, handout ready. Whenever I tell you a new definition, fatafat you should be able to write it. And I'm telling you that from this session of the budget, because there are so many new terms in the budget, you'll be really excited to know a lot of things which you can use in your exam. So the first is the Goldilocks moment. Or dekhte hain, what are the other things that happened? See, the next thing that happened in GST 2.0. What happened in GST 2.0? What did the government do? If you can tell me, what did the government do in GST 2.0? Some GST rates were reduced. Which GST rates were reduced, by the way? Those GST rates were reduced which would help the people to consume more. So I'll give an example to you. So for example, we belong to middle class, we want to buy a car. The price of the car is 8 lakh rupees. The government reduced the GST and price became 7 lakh. You will always have this in mind that, hey, GST has come down. God knows what will happen tomorrow. See, this is how we think as consumer, that today the GST is down. Tomorrow God knows if GST will increase. So let me buy the car today. It's better to buy today rather than postpone. This will instigate some sort of consumption behavior inside you. So what will you do? You will think that, chalo, let me go to a bank and let me see if I can take a car loan. So on one hand, the GST is down. On the other hand, when you go to a bank, what do you find about the repo rate? High or low? Low. Repo rate is low. So you will find that government is following, or RBI is following, expansionary monetary policy. So what is happening around us? So the first thing is the government of India reduced the GST of many items, especially the consumer goods. GST was reduced, plus the repo rate is also low, which means that if you want to take a bank loan, it will be relatively cheaper for you. So what will happen because of that? Because of these two factors, the consumption demand in the economy will increase. And you understand, we have a population of 146 crore, right? We are almost like a planet. So if a country like India starts to demand, you understand what will happen in the economy. Immediate economic revival will start. Because now the industries will feel, oh, people are demanding, so we must produce. But if I'm a producer, I also need to borrow money from bank. मुझे भी तो चाहिए, I also need to borrow money from bank. I'll go to a bank. So what is the interest rate charged by a bank to the producer or to the investor? This is a high interest rate, low interest rate? Low, because repo rate is low. So now people are demanding more loan from the bank. Investors are also demanding more money from the bank because the rate of interest is relatively low. And investors know that if India is not able to export, at least India will be able to sell the goods and services within the country itself. That's the beauty of a consumption-led economy. A consumption-led economy need not depend on others for its survival. If situation is not helping us to export, we can manage because of our domestic consumption. That is the formula which the government was following. So before the budget, what was the government doing? Reducing GST, reducing interest rate, Goldilocks moment, and labor reforms. Ye dekho. Labor reforms. Labor codes were also introduced. Our current budget was prepared in the context of these three things. Number one, relative stability of important economic indicators. Number two, tax reforms. and number 3, labor reforms. These were the 3 things in the background of the budget based on which the budget was drafted. मुझे ऐसा लगता है, if you ask me, we could have easily announced these things during the budget also. In the budget also, we could have said labor reform, this, that. But why did we do it before the budget? Because we wanted to trigger economic growth. Because India was experiencing some sort of slowdown in the GDP, especially after the trade war which started last year. And we knew that budget is coming. Now, if you show very bad number in the budget, देखो, when you showed good number, then the stock market is crashing. If you show bad number, God knows what will happen. All the FII, FDI, whatever is there will also go. So we cannot afford to show bad numbers. It will be a big question mark on our economic policy and foreign policy. So what do we need to do? We need to stabilize. We need to give a message to the world that, hey, you threaten India, it's okay, we can manage based on our domestic consumption. So these reforms were conducted before the budget itself. That is one of the things which is crucial to understand here. So these 3 contexts. So लिख लो आप, please write background of budget. Please write one line, background of budget. Background of budget. Please write. So we will write 3 things, A, B, C. Please write number A, expansionary monetary policy. Number B, GST 2.0 to boost consumption. GST 2.0 to boost consumption. And number C, labor reforms. To promote inclusive growth. Bachcho, did you notice something, online or offline, that we are not writing literature? Aapne notice kiya? We could have written big literature also, that the context of the budget this year is blah, blah, it's wastage of time. And frankly speaking, it's not possible to revise too much of literature. So we should make our notes in such a concise manner that point-wise we should be able to revise it before prelims. Why are we here? To prepare for prelims. So prelims notes must be very crisp and must be such that we can revise it. ध्यान रखना इस चीज को. So if you feel wise literature missing, that's one of the reasons. चलो बच्चों, let's see this. ये देखो. What is the theme of the budget? So please write theme of the budget. Theme of the budget. Absolutely. Please write theme of the budget. That's the new title. Now see, I'm going to explain to you some crucial things. यहाँ पे देखिए, see बच्चों. So this is the theme of budget 2024. See carefully. This is the theme of budget 2024. I want to establish some connection. देखो, ऐसे होता है ना, that whenever a particular government continues, you know that same government is continuing. So whenever the same government continues, there is always a set of policies which the government wants to promote over a period of time. So what happens is, when the same government continues, they carry their own set of policy then agenda in various budgets, and they make incremental changes in that. They make changes in that to strengthen their original idea. So what is the original idea of the government? यहाँ पे देखिए, it is clearly evident. This is 2024 budget. So what happened is, 2020 COVID, 2021 COVID, 2022 COVID, 2023, immediately we were recovering from COVID. So when the 2024 budget was presented, the government of India said that we are going to focus specifically on 4 areas of the economy and society. Also, because of the reason that during COVID, these 4 were badly impacted. मैं आपको example देता हूँ. Imagine that some of you were in graduation first year when the COVID started, 2020, right? By the time the COVID ended, and 2024, when the COVID got over, 2024 normalcy started to return, you would have already graduated. You didn't even realize what is college life, college canteen, what are college fights, what is college friendship. पता ही नहीं चला. Everything happened digitally only, right? So yeah, the youth suffered the most. That's number 1. Number 2, if you see the COVID-like situation, you will see that in the first phase of COVID, agriculture sector was not impacted. In the second wave of COVID, agriculture sector was also impacted. And the farming community found it very difficult to bounce back from there. So that is also second point. Because any health expenditure, anything which affects you for a very long time, and if you are low income group, you are badly impacted. And you understand, roughly 90% of India's farmers are small and marginal farmer. And 89.4%. Not every farmer is rich in India. Yes, there are. But it's not that every farmer is equally rich. So those farmers who are at low income group, they suffer the most. Now, third, there is a concept called as care economy. You must be knowing care economy. मैं आपको example लेता हूँ on a lighter note. So in one of the economic surveys, which is the last year economic survey, the government of India mentioned that if you look at the average number of hours that a father spends with the children in India, average number of hours, it's not hours actually, it's minutes. It's roughly 20 to 30 minutes every day. That is the number of minutes that father spends with the children in India. And what is the number of hours that a mother spends with the child in India on an average? The number of hours that mother spends is roughly 5 to 6 hours. On an average, every day, the mother spends 5 to 6 hours and the father spends 20 to 30 minutes, and that too under compulsion. So, not according to me, according to the government. So, which means who is taking care of the family and the children? Mother, of course. Acha, who is supposed to make sure that the house, etc., food is ready? If somebody is not well, I mean, we should take the person to the doctor. So, who is keeping a tab and eye on all these things? Mother. So, that's why they are called as, if the mother is strong, they say, or if the woman is empowered, now literally the economic and the social empowerment of the society automatically happens because she takes care of literally everything. But that is also the negative side. Too much pressure over here to handle the children, to handle the husband, to handle the parents in the family, to handle relatives. Sab kuch they have to do everything. So government of India is saying that especially after COVID, their responsibility increased. And if you look at the 2020 scenario, 2020, 21 and 22, they came out of the job market and they were not able to continue their jobs. After 2022, 23 only, they started to return back to the job market. Now they have started to return. So government started to say in 24 when they made the budget that we also have to take care of the women. So what are the focus areas of the government in the budget 2024? The poor section of the society, because they were impacted the most during the COVID. And number two, the women, because a lot of care work has to be done by women and we have to give them little relief. Number three, the government of India is saying the youth of this country. So aap dekho, yahan pe all these things are mentioned. So government is saying that we also have to take care of youth of this country and then farmers. So what are the four focus areas of the budget 2024? First is poor, right? Number two is youth. Number three is farmer. And number four is women. These are called as the four focus area of budget 2024. In fact, government of India said something else also. Aapko pata hai, in 2024, government said that entire caste system of India should be removed and new caste system should be created where there are only four castes in India. What are the four castes? The first caste is poor, the second is youth, third is farmer, and the fourth is women. And government is saying that we should focus on these four. Chalo, theek hai, we understand the context now. In the 2025 budget, government said these four will be our focus for sure. But after this, we are also going to ensure something more. Ab dhyan se sunna, what is that something? Listen to it very carefully. So here the government of India is saying, I will focus on the farmer. Theek hai, government is focusing on the farmer. What is the meaning of this focus? Focusing on farmer, focusing on women, focusing on poor section of the society. Ye dekho, poor. What is the meaning of the meaning of this? Is suppose there is a village. Bacho dhyan se, there is a village. In that village, I am a poor person. My income level is very low. I am a small and marginal farmer. Similarly, there are 20 other small and marginal farmers whose condition is very bad in my village. But remaining people in my village are well-to-do. Only hardly 10, 12 people are there, families are there who are not doing that well. Now, what the government does is, government of India tries to bring electricity in that village. If you have watched that series, Panchayat and all, dekha hoga aapne. The government of India tries to bring electricity in the village. You know where the electricity connection will be given? Electricity connection will be given first to those people in the village who are well-to-do and they are strong and they already have some lineage in the village, like sarpanch ke relatives and all those people. They will get the electricity connection, and by the time my number comes in the electricity connection, that I should also get the connection, somebody in the village will say, what is the point of giving electricity connection to them? Anyway, what will they do? Leave it. This is the attitude. So which means that in the government papers, what will be mentioned? That in the village in which I am staying, I'm a poor guy, I'm staying in a village. According to government records, my village has electricity. But if you speak in the sense of inclusive growth, do I have electricity? No, I don't have electricity. Where is inclusive growth? So what did the government of India do? In the budget 2025, government of India said, now the definition of inclusive growth should change in India. So what is the first change we brought in the inclusive growth definition? The first change that came in the definition of inclusive growth is that instead of focusing on village, now we are focusing on household in the village. And we are focusing on the household. And what is the meaning of this? When you don't focus on village, you focus on household in the village. The name of this philosophy is called as saturation approach. Saturation. Saturation means you try to saturate. Saturate means you try to give the benefit to not the village, but every person who is staying in a village should get the benefit. This is the first change in the attitude that happened in India. ठीक है? Are you getting it? Second point. I want to ask you a question. Bacho, imagine that you belong to a wealthy family. Now, if the price of milk is 50 rupees a liter and price of milk becomes 55 rupees a liter, does it affect you too much, online or offline? Does it really affect? No. You don't have to make compromises because you have wealth. But imagine that I'm a Manrega worker and I'm working on daily basis in some construction site or somebody else's farm, etc. Today, the price of milk is 50 rupees. Tomorrow, it becomes 55 rupees. Will I sacrifice something? Of course, I will sacrifice. I will reduce the quantity of milk that I buy for my children in the family. I will reduce my consumption a little bit because I'll feel it's little costly. Nahi hai paise, I can't manage. So Government of India is saying that in the definition of inclusive growth in India, we never used to include inflation. We always used to say inclusive growth means our villages should get the facility, India should get more schools and colleges. But now government is saying, no. If India is getting more schools, colleges and hospitals, the hospital must be affordable. That is also one of the aspects of inclusive growth. So what is the new component of inclusive growth now? The new component is number one, saturation. And what is the second component of inclusive growth? Affordability, which means prices are also important. Third, the Government of India says in the definition of inclusive growth, there should be schools. Totally agreed. There should be a school in my village. But wherever I'm staying in my village, from there, suppose that there is no road to my school. Hospital is there, little far away from my village, but there is no road, I cannot go to the hospital. What is the point of having the school and the hospital? So now the Government of India is saying that in the definition of inclusive growth, we must include all the basic infrastructure: school, hospital, road, drinking water, electricity, means of transportation, everything should be included. Don't you feel that the definition is becoming thoda better? Yes, it is. When did we get this definition? We got this definition in the budget 2025. This is the budget where we got this definition, by the way. A new definition of inclusive growth was given. आप समझ रहे हो? How important is this to understand the context? So what is the context of the budget? The theme of the first budget, 2024 wala budget after COVID, is Gyan. Gyan means poor, G for Garib, which is poor, youth, farmers, and women. And what is the theme of this budget, 2025 budget? The theme is inclusive growth. उसी को they say that, Viksit Bharat Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. So that term Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas actually was defined by the Government of India as inclusive growth. That Hindi term is Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. Looks more like an election slogan. But if you go deep into it and see the literature meaning of that, it turns out to be inclusive growth, which was mentioned by the government itself. And then they gave a definition of inclusive growth where they said, we are incorporating new points under inclusive growth. What is the new point? First is saturation. The second is that inflation should be included. And third is that we should also talk about infrastructure, basic infrastructure. These are a part of inclusive growth now. This was this budget. Now the current budget. अब देखो interesting thing in the budget. This is how you study the budget. अभी I'll give you, लिखना है आपको. Do you want to write the definition of inclusive growth? You please write. Please write inclusive growth as per budget 2025. Please write inclusive growth as per budget 2025. Please write. Bacho, if I ask you the definition of normal inclusive growth, what will you tell me? Which you have studied in textbooks and all. बता सकते हो आप? What is inclusive growth? Inclusive growth means a growth which benefits everyone without any discrimination. है ना? Equal opportunities for all. This is inclusive growth. But in this, we will add three more things. It will become the new definition of inclusive growth. So लिख लो please. In a conventional sense, conventional means old system. In the conventional sense, under inclusive growth, benefits are provided to all. Benefits are provided to all without discrimination. Without discrimination. But in budget 2025, new elements were added. New elements were added in the definition of inclusive growth. In the definition of inclusive growth. New elements were added in the definition of inclusive growth. Bacho, please tell me what are the new elements that you will write. Number A, Saturation. Very good. What is the meaning of saturation? The focus area is the village or the household. Superb. So please write number A. Saturation approach. Saturation approach. And in front of saturation approach, what will you write? ऐसे लिखो. Focus area is household. Focus area is household. Right? And what is number B? Affordability. Brilliant. Affordability. Affordability. And in affordability, in the bracket, what will you write? Inflation management. Inflation management. And bacho, who does inflation management in India? Can you tell me the name of the institution? Monetary Policy Committee. Inflation management by Monetary Policy Committee. So affordability is the second point. In the bracket, you should write inflation management by MPC, Monetary Policy Committee. Third, basic infrastructure for all. Basic infrastructure for all. आप देख रहे हो बच्चों, the definition of inclusive growth has widened, isn't it? Basic infrastructure for all. So this was your budget 2025. Now let us look at the current budget. अब देखो how easy it is for us. So बच्चों, this is the current budget. Look carefully. So what is the government saying in this budget? These two pictures are important. This gives you the theme of this year's budget. So what I have done is, in one of the pages in your handout, I have given this picture as a separate picture in that page. Can you please open? I think page number 1 or 2. ऐसा कुछ है. And for those of you, if you are not having handout by any chance, I will show you that picture. I'm talking about this picture. It is there in your handout. So I'm going to explain what this is. देखिए, what is written here? Yuva Shakti driven budget. So what is the focus of this budget? Youth. Youth. How to harness the power of youth? Demographic dividend. Without demographic dividend, it is not possible. What is the meaning of demographic dividend? आप क्या बताओगे? देखो, this term is very trivial. Almost literally everybody uses the term without understanding actually what the meaning of demographic dividend is. जैसे मैं आपसे पूछूं, and वैसे भी you understand, trivial things are very difficult to define. And if somebody asks you that, tell us about yourself, so difficult to speak. Tell us about your neighbors, so easy. Right? So that is what happens in life. If somebody will ask you what is the meaning of inclusive growth kind of terms, etc., looks like a very simple term, but from exam perspective, it's different. This is the difference in approach that you need to have for the exam. Agar na, suppose you are having a budget session where I'm telling you that inclusive growth means growth for all. Disaster. It's a disaster because UPSC does not want these kind of answers. UPSC wants precise answers so that they will also feel like giving you more marks. आपको ज़्यादा marks आएगा if you write what the real meaning of the terms are. And that is what we should expect from these kind of sessions, that we should get points from exam perspective. So देखो, इसी तरह से the second thing is youth. So here the government is saying that I have designed a budget which is youth-centric. Now, how do you make sure that youth is empowered? The concept is called demographic dividend. What is the meaning of demographic dividend? Demographic dividend simply means that you have to design policies in such a way that the youth capacity and caliber increases and contributes in the economic growth. Which means, what is the formula of demographic dividend? The formula of demographic dividend is you have to design your policies in such a way. आप लिख सकते हो, please write demographic dividend. Right, demographic dividend, underline it, please. अब देखो, what is the meaning of demographic dividend? You have to design policies in such a way. So you write policy. Policy for whom? Youth. For capacity building of youth. What do we want from the youth? That youth should do what? Contribute in economic growth. So you design the policy of the country in such a way that capacity of the youth improves so that they can contribute in increasing economic growth. This sequence is called as demographic dividend. So if somebody will ask you, beta, what is demographic dividend? आप क्या बोलोगे? This is demographic dividend actually. Set of policies which are designed to improve the capacity and the contribution of youth in improving the economic growth is called as demographic dividend. So this year, the government of India is saying, it is my duty means kartavya, it is my duty to design such policies. So in the budget, the government of India has mentioned, ye dekho, see, some of the government duties. So which are these duties? Government is saying it is my duty to design policies in such a way that the youth of this country can contribute in nation building. So which are the policies which the government has designed? Government is calling it as Kartavya number 1, which means duty number 1, duty number 2, and duty number 3. We are also going to write it. Acha bacho, there is one exam which comes in, there is one question which comes in the exam mains. This type of question are like this. So they will ask you, discuss the theme of the Union Budget 2026, explain its important components. They have already asked such type of questions previously in the year 2021, 2022, where they asked, discuss the theme of the current budget, explain its components. I said they have asked the question. So these type of questions are very common in UPSC. So aap likh lo, please write, discuss the theme of budget 2026. Discuss the theme of budget 2026 and explain its important components. And explain its important components. Explain its important components. And I hope that my online students are able to see this font. I hope it is comfortable for you. So explain its components. Okay? So let us write the theme. Please write. The Union Budget 2026. The Union Budget 2026 is focused on utilizing the power of youth for economic development. That is inclusive growth. So bachcho, what does the government want? To utilize the power of youth to achieve what? Inclusive growth. Ab dekho, why was it important to understand what is inclusive growth? Because here in UPSC mains, you will have to write what is inclusive growth. So you will have to write a line on that. That inclusive growth means, we have already written it. Inclusive growth means we have already written conventional plus 3 new things. This is how you get more marks in the exam. So first you will write that it is youth centric. And then you are saying that youth is helping us to achieve inclusive growth. In one line mention what is inclusive growth, and you are done. So the first part of your answer, the introduction of the answer, is rock solid now. Now we will write what is the actual theme, the components of the theme. So change the paragraph and please write that the budget 26 presents 3 duties, and in the bracket bacho you should write the word kartavya. 3 duties in the bracket kartavya, close the bracket, of the government. So you know what government is saying in the budget. So government is saying that government has 3 duties, kartavya, towards the country, towards the youth. What are these 3 things, 3 duties? Now bacho you don't have to write anything because you know it is given in your handout. So first you can simply write the first. So 3 duties or kartavs, put a dash and please write number 1. Ye dekho. What is the first kartavya? First kartavya talks about accelerating and sustaining economic growth. So what will you write here? Number 1, please write. Accelerate and sustain economic growth. Accelerate and sustain economic growth. But I want to ask you a question. Look at the term inclusive growth. What are the 2 words there? First is inclusive. Inclusive means it should be available for all. And growth. Growth means economic growth, GDP, resources. Can we ever have inclusive growth without growth? If I tell you that let's distribute the cake in a fair manner to everyone, why for that we need to have cake first. So that is why in inclusive growth, the first word that should be there is growth. So government is saying that I want to promote growth. And number 2, the government is saying what kind of growth? The kind of growth that involves youth. Abhi don't write anything. Let me first speak, I'll make you write. So government is saying I want to promote growth, and number 2, the kind of growth where youth is involved. So community participation, capacity building, that is the second duty. So government is saying my first duty is to promote growth and my second duty is to involve everyone, capacity building, community participation, so that growth can happen. And third, the government is saying I want that kind of growth by involving youth so that the focus area is not village. The focus area is that every household in every village should get the benefit. Number 1. Number 2, I want that kind of growth which is accessible to everyone. So if there is a school, there is a road to take you to the school. If there is a school, there is a hospital, it should be affordable. So government is saying, I want inclusive growth. And when was the principle of inclusive growth already mentioned by the government? In the budget 2025. And now the government is just repeating it and saying that I want to continue with that. So what are the three things mentioned in the budget? Duty number one of the government, growth. Duty number two, to involve everyone, especially youth. And duty number three, the government is saying to stick to the idea of inclusive growth. Now please write number two. Fulfill. Number two, fulfill people's aspiration. People's aspiration. People's aspiration. And number three, अब देखो बच्चों, here I am not going to dictate to you vision of सबका साथ सबका विकास, because the English translation of this is inclusive growth. So we will write inclusive growth. So please write number third, inclusive growth. Inclusive growth. Is it okay? Cool. So these are the three kartavya or three duty of the government. अब देखो, what is the government saying? Government is saying that by we will reach the word inclusion only when we have something to include people. If I don't have hospital, how will I tell people come to the hospital if you are sick? We need to have hospital first. So having hospital is called growth. So what is the government doing now? Government is saying, first, I'm going to put a roadmap of how to achieve this growth. And what is the roadmap that government has presented? Ye dekho. It is given in your handout. I'll show you. See this. This is the roadmap. So, bacho, to my online and offline kids, if you open your handout, you will see that a roadmap has been given by Government of India to achieve growth. What is the roadmap? And these things you have to use in your mains answer. So, kya hai? What is the roadmap? The first thing is given in your handout. So, the roadmap is, first, Government of India is saying that we must scale up manufacturing in 7 strategic and frontier sector. Bacho, I'll take 5 minutes to explain this point. It is not a very easy point. This point is thoda deep point. So see, I'm going to explain to you carefully. I'll make you write also. We will have some dictation on this. Careful, huh? So what are we studying? We are studying Kartavya number 1. So you please give a title. Duty number 1. Duty number 1. This can come in prelims. This can come in mains. Please write duty number 1. Duty number 1. Now see this, please. Ab dekhiye. So what is the government saying? Duty number 1, to accelerate the growth and to maintain the growth. Now I want to ask you a question. India is a global leader in medicine. Pata hai aapko. You know this. Medicine is all about biotechnology, chemicals, all these things, right? Since we are global leader in medicine, we must be very happy and celebrating it that the world cannot live without us. But is it actually true? Let's go deep and examine. From where are we getting, obviously, from where are we getting all the raw material of the medicine? China. We are doing really well in electronics. But where are we getting our raw material in electronics? China, US, South Korea, Taiwan, Japan. These are the countries from which we are getting our raw material. We are really good in solar technology, solar cells. But who is giving us the technology related to solar technology and solar cell? Australia. Australia. ISRO is doing really well in space. Space sciences we are doing, we have developed cryogenic engines. We have the record in launching the number of satellites, both government and private satellites. So we are really doing well. Chandrayaan mission was a success and all. So yeah, we are doing well. But where do we get our semiconductor and rare earth from? Taiwan and China. So if Taiwan and China one day tells us that, sorry, we can't provide you rare earth, our space program will be badly impacted. So what has India learned over a period of time? It's an amazing message given by the Government of India in this year's budget. So the government has used a very smart term this year, and the name of that term is called as strategic indispensability. What is the meaning of indispensable? Inseparable. You cannot separate something. So that is called inseparable. For example, the emotions that you have for your parents. Can I separate your emotions from your body? Emotions related to your parents, can I take it out of your mind? It is not possible. You are strongly connected to your parents. That is inseparable. It is not possible. Physically, you are not with your parents. But aisa to hoga na, you must be thinking how your parents are doing. Just your parents are also thinking what my child is doing. And my child is being tortured by a faculty for budget. ऐसे करके parents must be thinking. So here you are thinking that let me learn one point related to budget. Parents must be thinking when the class is over, I'll give food to my child. देख रहे हो आप? So this is called as inseparable. It's not separable. So government of India has found something really interesting. ध्यान सुना बच्चों. This is really interesting in this year. The government of India is saying that government is making a list of all those inputs. According to the government, these are those inputs without which India is considered to be a vulnerable country. So government has made a list of those inputs, and government is saying these are those inputs which India does not have, or even if we have, it's not sufficient, and it is making us vulnerable. And then the government is saying these are interestingly also those inputs without which the world can never have manufacturing. Ab socho, think about it. Can any country in the world manufacture LED, digital boards, mobile phone and laptop without semiconductor? Not possible. Can any country in the world succeed in terms of medicine without focusing on chemical industry? Not possible. Can any machine today, in today's era, is it possible to create something only mechanical? Not possible. Because even the best of mechanical equipments also use electronics inside them. Right? It makes the machine more efficient. So electronics cannot be separated from the machine these days. Capital goods will always have electronic components inside them. It is not possible for any country in the world to have a robust manufacturing without having electronics, without having chemical, without having energy. There are some basic things which is absolutely required to have success in the field of industries. And government of India realized that these are the basic things which India does not have. So India made a list. And India said, today, we are not the number one in these things. But if India is able to get success in some of the selected areas, a day will come when across the world, if anybody wants to create industries, they have to call India. And they have to say, hey, India, can you send us some semiconductors? India, can you send us some rare earths? So what is India targeting? India is making a list of those items which will make India indispensable from the global supply chain. So India says across the world, anybody wants to promote industries, you will have to call India. Just like today, anybody wants to create industries, they have to call China. Without that, you cannot survive. You love China, you hate China, you can't live without China. Right? Same thing. Go and ask US. US will tell you. Right? US hates China. US will say that this is against China. I'm making this policy to make China learn a lesson. I'm announcing trade war. And after 1 week, US will quietly call China and say, let's meet. Right? So US and China will always have this love-hate relationship. The reason being that China has done something very interesting. China mostly produces those items without which industrialization across the world is not possible. India says, मैं भी वही करूंगा. I am also going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a list of those items without which the world manufacturing is not possible. These are called 7 critical areas which India is trying to create. वो कौन से हैं 7 critical areas? See, यही है. Scaling up the manufacturing of 7 strategic and frontier sectors. These are the sectors. It can be asked in prelims. So please write. What have you written? Kartavya number 1, no? Please write. It depends upon. We are talking about Kartavya number 1. It depends upon 6 factors. 6 factors. 6 factors. Are those 6 factors mentioned in your handout? So in that bracket, in front of the 6 factors, please mention the page number of the handout. So that why to waste time in copying things from the handout? So you mention the page number. What page number is there? So you write bracket page number 1 so that you can look at the 6 factors. Now change the paragraph. And please write factor number 1. Factor number 1. So what is the first factor, bacho? We are talking about strategic and frontier sectors. Factor number 1, strategic and frontier sectors. Factor number 1, strategic and frontier sectors. Strategic and frontier sector. So how many sectors the government has selected which is called as a strategic and frontier sector? Ye dekhiye, 7. So let us write the names. So please write strategic and frontier sectors, put a dash, and please write biopharma. So here we are talking about biotechnology and pharmaceuticals. Biopharma, number 2, semiconductor. Number 3, electronics. Then rare earth. Then chemicals, infrastructure and construction, and containers. But why do we require container? For trade, yeah, shipping, export, import. And India used to purchase a lot of containers, costly containers from rest of the world. अब बताओ, this is an irony. India is one of the largest producer, not one of the second largest producer of steel. India is one of the largest producer of metal normally. Talk about iron, steel, etc. And yet India is importing the containers. So India is saying that we should be the global leader in manufacturing of containers. These are the 7 critical areas which India is saying that we are going to promote. बच्चों, एक चीज बताइए. I want to ask you a question. Suppose this digital pen is a new product in your hand, and I'm asking you some questions. Suppose that the plastic of this pen comes from India. Number 2, the paint of this pen, because it's not only fiber, but there is plastic and fiber. Over that, there is a paint also, which makes it smooth. The paint comes from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is good in production of paints, by the way. Then there is, suppose, electronic circuit inside this. Iske andar na, there is electronic circuit. Suppose that comes from China. Suppose the tip of this pen, which makes it useful, comes from South Korea. So we have named almost like 5 countries, suppose 4 countries. So now I ask you a question. Which of these countries are indispensable, without which the production of this pen is not possible? Even if you have plastic, you can't convert it into pen if you don't have that material. What is that material? Which makes it indispensable. Without that, the pen is not a digital pen. The electronic circuit. Many countries have plastic, paint and rubber and all those things, fiber, etc. Doesn't mean that you will be able to have paint. We have metal, but we don't manufacture aircraft. So just because we have metal doesn't mean that you will manufacture aircrafts. So which means electronics is very, very crucial here. So Government of India is saying that I have identified something called as global value chain. Global value chain क्या होता है? All the countries and participants who are involved in the production of a product, they constitute something called as global value chain. Any country which adds value to the product is called global value chain. So in our global value chain, how many countries did we take? 4. In this global value chain, India says, I don't want to become the plastic supplier. I don't want to become the paint supplier. I don't want to become the tip supplier. I want to become the supplier of electronic, because without electronic, the paint, the plastic, the fiber is meaningless. If India is able to do this, this concept is called as strategic indispensability. Where is this word strategic indispensability mentioned this year? Economic Survey. Chapter number 1 and chapter number 8. In these 2 chapters, the government has said, I am creating strategic indispensability. But where is the example of strategic indispensability given? In the budget. This is the example. So, you please write. Under point first only, we are writing the first point, the first factor. Under that only, please write that strategic indispensability refers to the production of those items, which are so critical that the global value chain would be incomplete without them. For the production of would be incomplete without them, for the production of certain crucial goods. Right, bacho? Example, rare earth. You know, India has a very large deposit of rare earth. But आपको ये भी पता होगा, you must also be knowing that India is not able to harness them because we don't have the technology. So now India is saying, if I don't have the technology, I will, get some partners from foreign countries like South Korea, Japan, USA, China. India is saying that I am open to it. I'll invite them. I'll create partnership using their technology. I will also develop my technology, and I will increase the production of these items in India. This is called as strategic indispensability. Yeah, this is the first point. So, bachcho, how does India want to achieve growth? See. The first point looks so innocent. Kitna easy lag raha hai? Such simple point. 7 strategic sector. What's there? Nothing. But when you go deep, you will see, acha, there is a name also. And there is a concept also which is mentioned in the survey. So survey and budget have to be studied together. अगर आप ये नहीं करोगे, if you don't focus on these terms, जैसे you studied everything but you did not study this term, what is the point of studying this document? Then better we don't study. But if we are studying, we should give our 100%. So this is the first point. Second point, it does not require too much speaking. Easy hai. Second says rejuvenating the legacy industrial sector. That is the second factor. What is legacy industrial sector? What is the meaning of legacy industrial sector? बच्चों legacy क्या होता है? What is legacy? The thing which we are carrying from previous generation. है ना? So something which we are carrying from generation to generation. Can you tell me what is the focus of Government of India in the second 5-year plan? Online and offline, आप बता सकते हो? Industries? Which industries? हाँ, basic and heavy industries. Example? Iron and steel industry, cement industry, electricity. These are the things that we promoted. These are our legacy industries. So Government of India is saying that just because we are creating new type of industries called as rare earth, biopharma, digital industries, we should not forget our legacy industries in which we have expertise. Just we are one of the largest producers, second largest producer of steel, second largest producer of cement. We should not leave them. And India largely manages its own electricity. We should not lose the focus on that, because then we will have to call others and say, hey, can you give us electricity, please? You cannot power your industries on borrowed electricity from others for very long. So what is the economic survey saying? Economic survey is saying that whatever is the legacy industries, the industries in which we have gained expertise over a period of time, we should not leave them. But so there are two types of industries that the budget talks about. One is called as sunrise, and the second is called legacy. What is sunrise? The new ones. What is legacy? The old ones. So just because you have a new friend in life doesn't mean that you stop wishing your previous friends. If you open your phone book and contacts, you will see old friend bhi hai. Unko you should definitely wish. New friends also you should take care, but old friends are very important. Don't leave your friends like that. Okay? That's what government is saying. What will you call those friends as? Legacy friend. Abhi change kar lo in your phone book. Change the name of your friends. Legacy friend 1, legacy friend 2. Right? So please write, bachcho. Please write point number 2, legacy industries. Dekho, one of your online friends is saying, sir, old is gold. Right? Abhi gold pe bhi aayenge, don't worry. Please write legacy industries. Please write. These are the industries. These are the industries in which India has gained expertise. These are the industries in which India has gained expertise over time. Over time. Example, iron and steel, cement, iron and steel, cement, textile, and so on. One of your online friends is saying, sir, you are my legacy teacher. You are making... So today, finally, you made me feel like a senior citizen. Thank you so much. All right. So okay, fine. Your friend is saying, sir, bro code. Okay. So you will apply all the concept for me only. Charity begins at home. Right? Okay. Cool. So, bachcho, this is the second point. Third point is creating champion MSMEs. Acha, ek baat batao, I forgot to ask you this. Online and offline. How many of you have never attended a proper economics class with me in the past? This is not to judge you, but this is because if I'm going to use a few things which I normally use, I'll keep explaining it. Be honest. I'm not going to judge you at all. Why will I judge? We are here to learn. Cool. Got it. So almost like 30, 40 of you. Cool. So guys, there is a term. If you have ever attended a session with me in economics, you must be knowing what is the meaning of champion sector. And if you have never attended a session with me related to economics, then I'm going to tell you the meaning. Yes, sir. Okay. So I'll tell you in one line what is the meaning of champions, and then we'll have a 2 minutes break, and then we'll continue. Likhlo, please write. What is the meaning of champion sector in one line? So, bacho, champion sector is a sector. So please write. It is a sector whose rank is under 10. Whose rank is under 10 in terms of global production, global production. So, bacho, is steel a champion sector of India? Yeah, of course. Our global rank is ranked second, right? So please write example steel, and we'll see you in 2 minutes. A quick break for 2 minutes. We'll see you. So guys, as we were discussing, I'll tell you about the tomorrow's plan. That is what we were discussing from the administration side about tomorrow's lecture. So I'll tell you about tomorrow's lecture after we conclude the session today. Right. So the reason being that I'm really excited to teach this year's budget and economic survey. Economic survey, though, I'm already recording it for you guys. I don't know if I told you this or not, that economic survey with 2 lectures already provided. The one is the theme and the second is on industries. You must watch them. And as I already told you that this is highly exam kind of structuring that I have done in the lecture. It will be highly useful for you for the exam. I have removed all the unnecessary things. So nothing of useless short is there in the video. Now, number 2, about the budget. I was really excited to teach this year's budget. The reason being that, we are seeing some challenging times around us because global scenario, things related to economy and society, government has ambitions, we have ambitions. So there are few interesting things which I found in the budget, which I found in the economic survey this year. And I thought that instead of creating a delay in these lectures, it should be delivered on time. That is the reason that we started the session. Normally we take a week or 10 days to start, but this time we have started early because the exam is also there, number 1. And number 2, we found some really important things in the budget and survey. So we thought it should be delivered to you. तो अब एक काम करते हैं. First of all, as you know that the students' enthusiasm, your friends who came to watch the offline lecture, the session, and some administrative arrangements that have to be made. So it became slightly challenging today because a lot of students showed interest in attending the offline class as well, along with online. So, and it looks slightly difficult to make all the arrangements immediately. And I don't want to take a break because we have started the session today. If we start something, we must complete it. So if I'm starting something today, I should continue. So I do not want to take a break tomorrow or day after. It will continue. But I feel that based on the number of students who are interested in studying and learning the survey, conducting an offline class would be slightly difficult tomorrow. So what I'll do tomorrow is, tomorrow I'll give you YouTube live to maintain continuity. And if you want to discuss anything, so let me complete all the sessions of economic survey and budget. So budget I'll be completing day after tomorrow. And after that, if you want to meet me, etc., I'll be definitely available. But as I told you, as you have seen also today, that there is up to a limit up to which we can accommodate also, because creating immediate infrastructure is a challenge. And we do not want to discriminate against anyone who wants to attend the session. For us, all of you are equal. So if you are coming to the class and somebody has to wait because there is no seat, we don't want that situation. Because as I told you that today I'm taking this as a second session, just to make sure, because you came, so we have to respect your efforts. So we thought to give you this session. So tomorrow let's have online so that nobody is left behind. Inclusive growth. Right? It's not about the class now. Class matlab village. Now we have to reach to every student, whosoever is interested in learning. Isliye to we are doing this as an extended support. So we will continue. But tomorrow's session will be 5:30 YouTube live. I'll be right on time. We will use this handout itself and we will continue our stories. Nothing will be compromised. Don't you worry at all. Right? It's a promise from my side. So let us continue without wasting time. Your time has to be respected, guys. So see this. Champion sector. Guys, come back, please. Online and offline, guys, please come back. So what is the meaning of this champion? Champion means if the rank of a particular sector is under 10. Ab ye bataiye mujhe. Can you please tell me what is India's rank in electronics industry? Are we entering top 10 in the world currently? Yes, we are in some of the items. Yes. Medicine, to already we are ranked 2nd and 3rd. Automobile, we are ranked 4th. Which means that yes, there are many sectors in which we are ranked 1, 2, 3, 4 in the world. Food processing industry, our rank is ranked 6th in the world. Now, बहुत important part, very important part. Government of India is saying that if only big industries of India would produce steel and automobile, the medium industries in India, the small industries in India would never be able to increase their capacity. So government is saying that why can't I create a policy in such a way that there are some sectors in which we are already global champion. So government is saying, why can't I bring more MSMEs in those global champion? We are already doing well. For example, in steel industry, chemical industry, medicine industry, food processing industry, electronic industry, defense industry, we are already doing well. Why can't we promote more MSME participation in that? But this is the idea which is mentioned here. So government keh rahi hai that we will create more champions through MSMEs in India. So this is the next point. Now, what is the other point? It says delivering a powerful push to infrastructure. आप समझ रहे हो? Why is infrastructure important? I want to ask you a question. Suppose that I am in, let's say, Arunachal Pradesh currently, and I want to make sure that Arunachal Pradesh also becomes highly developed in terms of industries and other economic sector. For example, services, industries, agriculture, whatever Arunachal Pradesh wants, we want to give it to them. But if I'm in Arunachal and I'm inviting some big industrialists across the world and I'm telling them, hey, come to Arunachal, produce semiconductor here, just like Assam is producing semiconductor. I want to do it in Arunachal also. What is the first thing that any industry would want from India, from Arunachal? Basic infrastructure. Basic infrastructure. So even if the infrastructure is basic, they'll be okay. They will say, "ठीक है, you give us basic, we will bring the advance." But basic infrastructure though is absolutely required. So government of India is saying, if you want inclusive growth, then delivering a powerful push to infrastructure is important. अब मुझे नाम बताइए. Can you please tell me some of the pillars of infrastructure in India? If you have been my student, you must be knowing it. If not, I'll tell you the answer. What are the pillars of infrastructure in India? 4 pillars of infrastructure. Please tell me. Online and offline kids, guys. 4 pillars of infrastructure. You have studied this. You already know it. National infrastructure pipeline. National infrastructure pipeline. So which are the pillars of infrastructure policy of India? NIP. What is the second one? National monetization pipeline. National infrastructure pipeline. National monetization pipeline. NMP. What is national monetization pipeline? Giving our airports on rent and collecting the rent money and using the rent money to construct new infrastructure. So when you give your infrastructure on rent and you collect the money, that is called national monetization policy, right? National monetization. Now, what is the meaning of national infrastructure? National infrastructure pipeline contains a list of all the infrastructure projects, roughly 10,000 projects in India, which India wants to achieve by 2030. So it contains a list of all the infrastructure. For example, road, schools, hospitals, warehouses, recycling plants, everything, bridges, everything is included in the NIP. So NIP is a list of all the infrastructure that India wants, and NMP means arrangement of cash by putting your existing infrastructure on rent. So that is called NMP, National Monetization Pipeline. Now, what is the third policy? National Logistics Policy, right? What is the meaning of logistic? Storage, transportation, packaging, and distribution. These 4 things are called as logistic. We want to promote logistic. Okay. After that, so this is National Logistics Policy. Now, don't you feel that infrastructure should be given in India in a coordinated manner? Because one ministry should coordinate with another. If somebody is constructing a road, another ministry should come and put an optical fiber inside the road before the road is finalized. So who will make sure that there is coordination between ministries? Gati Shakti. So these are called as the 4 pillars of infrastructure in India. So government of India is saying that these 4 pillars will be made stronger. So aap likh lo in your notebook only, you can write 4 pillars, that is NIP, NMP, NLP, NIP, NMP, NLP, and GS, Gati Shakti. Should be made stronger. Should be made stronger. Now look at this, बच्चों. Next point is ensuring long-term energy security and stability. आपको पता है, you understand that any country cannot progress on the basis of borrowed energy. So can we borrow energy from other countries and tell them, give us electricity so that India can progress? Not possible. So we have to ensure our own energy security, because energy security is directly connected to national security. So government of India is saying that in energy, we should be self-reliant. इसीलिए on one hand, we are buying oil. On the other hand, we are also promoting solar energy, nuclear energy. We are promoting alternate forms of energy. So energy security should be ensured. Here, nothing else to be written, just this. In last point, देखो. What is the last point? Last point says developing city economic reasons. What is this? This is correct. Absolutely correct. Absolutely. So there is a concept called as industrial corridor, and there is a concept called as economic corridor. What is the meaning of economic corridor? Okay, I'll give an example to you. See, so for example, this is a village. It's a village, a normal village area where there are so many households. Now, will an industry come here? No. Why will the industry come? There is nothing here. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. There is labor. There is raw material. Because we know we have surplus labor. And we know that there is disguised unemployment in our rural areas. So labor is waiting to be given a chance. So we have labor and we have raw material also. If somebody wants to come, we have raw material. So labor and raw material already there. What else do we need? Road. हमें तो road चाहिए. First of all, we need a road, right? So first is road. Second, we need transportation system. So along with road, we need transportation. Along with that, we also need communication system. Communication. We also need storage facilities, which means in this particular region, ये है ना एक region है. This is a region. So in this region, what do you find? You find human habitation, which means people are residing, residents, public. So all the facilities that you will see in this area is related to public. For example, basic road, schools, hospital, etc., which is not good enough to attract industry. Industry doesn't come if there is school, hospital, and road. Industry comes if there are infrastructures which industry requires and that is present in that area. For example, warehouse, solid communication, banking system. These are some of the basic things that is required for the industry. So Government of India is saying, I will go to cities and I will explore the opportunity that if in and around a particular city, if we can provide industry-related infrastructure, for example, warehouse, waste management, all these things, transportation system and communication system, then along with public, there will also be business. Why? Because public is so happy with road, but industries don't want road. Industry says we need road also, plus communication also, plus banking also, plus electricity also, बहुत सारा चीज. So industry requires different type of infrastructure, which is called as industry-related infrastructure. So if you provide infrastructure for public, but you also provide infrastructure for business, then one particular city, which is just a normal city, can be converted into an economic opportunity wala city, where more businesses can prosper. So what is the concept of economic cities or regions? The concept is you create infrastructure for public, but you also create infrastructure for business. So combination of public infrastructure plus business infrastructure is called as city economic regions. So please write city economic region CER is equal to, write a formula please. CER is equal to infrastructure for public plus infrastructure for business. Infrastructure for business. अब अच्छा, I want to ask something. अब ये बताओ मुझे, if in UPSC Prelims a twisted question will be asked, which of the following is the feature of city economic region? What will you look for in the options? Which two things will you look for? One is infrastructure for public and second infrastructure for business. That's it. Your answer is ready. This is how you should create simple formulas for your exam. अब इसको if you complicate by writing, one paragraph, one page on city economic, what is the point of doing that? Because we can't use it in exam. So if you write everything, but you don't write the soul of the matter, then there is no point having this kind of theory. So if you're preparing for prelims, बहुत ध्यान से सुने, if you're preparing for prelims, whenever you study something, you try to break it down into simple concepts which are usable in the exam, which you can also retain and understand. अब तो समझ गए आप, what is the meaning of city economic region? So guys, see this please carefully. यहाँ पे देखिए. So what is the first thing the government wants? The first thing is economic growth. This is kartavya number 1, duty number 1. So what is the government saying? In this duty, there are these 6 important factors which the government says it must be corrected. The first factor is related to a concept called as strategic indispensability, which is also given in economic survey. One of the factors which we found very interesting was legacy industry should be made better. So government is saying we should focus on legacy industries. Another one we saw that MSME participation should be increased, especially in champion sectors. Then we saw that simple cities should be converted into business opportunities and business centers also, if possible. That is called as balanced regional development. Ye ho gaya first point. The second point, bacho, is related to this part, where we are trying to do capacity building for the society and community participation. Aap mujhe batao, you tell me. If I have to do capacity building of the youth, what is the first thing that I should do? Skill. Skill is very important. Only skill. Health, skill. Absolutely. Internships to give them job opportunities. So which means that all the things which makes the youth deliver their best capacity. So I know I have the capacity to be a good programmer and I know I can do coding. I have that element inside me. But how will you discover? To discover that, you need to train me in basic computers. Then you need to put me in a front of a computer and tell me that go beta experiment. Then you will see that acha, this guy has some aptitude related to coding and programming. If you never expose me to computer, how will I know? So Government of India is saying that we should give opportunity to community for community participation through capacity building. Iske upar we will see this little later when I start to teach you the details of budget, that what are the programs that the Government of India has talked about to promote startups in India, to provide skill to the youth, etc. We'll see little later. Abhi nahi, thoda baad mein dekhenge isko. We'll see it little later. Third point is inclusive growth, which we have already seen. हम देख चुके already that inclusive growth new component has been introduced. But in this year's budget, what has the government done? ये देखो, see. This is the new idea which the government is introducing in inclusive growth. So please give a title and please write Kartavya number 2. पहले लिख लो. Let's write just in our handout, in our notebook, just to complete the picture. Please write Kartavya number 2, which means duty number 2. Duty number 2. Please write capacity building. Duty number 2, capacity building, community participation. Community participation in order to fulfill people's aspiration. In order to fulfill people's aspiration. So I aspire to be successful in life, but how will I be successful unless I get opportunity for skill development? Wahi to keh rahi hai. That is what the government is saying, that we will fulfill the aspirations of public through capacity building and participation. Please write Kartavya number 3. Kartavya number 3. Ab dekho, this is interesting. Kartavya number 3, please write promote inclusive growth. Promote inclusive growth using threefold approach. Threefold approach. So what are the 3 approaches that we need to have to promote inclusive growth? Using threefold approach. Please write number 1, approach number 1. So bacho, what is the government saying? Ab dhyan se suna bacho. I'll give some examples to you so that you understand this clearly. So what is the government saying? Government is saying, I want to give electricity to every village and every household. Then the government is saying, I want to make sure that there is school and hospital in every village of India. And in every village, people should be able to attend the school and go to hospital if they are not well. So government is saying that I want to make sure that every household has access to basic facilities in life. Yes, simple point. This is inclusive growth. Now the government is saying to give inclusive growth, if I keep being confused that, what shall I give for? First, I should give hospital. First, I should give school. What should I do first? First, I should give skill training institute. By how can you give skill training institute without basic school? Pehle to you need to make me, so aware that I should be able to read and write. Because if I cannot read and write, how will I study your manual where you're talking about skill development? How will I understand anything that you try to give to me? If you give me computers and tell me that this is for skill development, how will I operate it? I will not know what is written on the keyboard. So pehle to basic, primary, secondary and higher level education, at least primary and secondary, to very important. Then you can give me vocational education along with primary and secondary also. So there is no doubt in the mind that if the government of India wants to do skill development has to be preceded. Before skill development, basic literacy should be provided. I should be able to read and write at least. There is no confusion in that. You can't put me in front of a big machine and say, chalo, I'll teach you machine. I can't read the instructions on the machine. So which means government is saying that instead of having a confused approach towards inclusive growth, the government is saying it should be sorted that, okay, basic things first. There should be no confusion. That is the first agenda. So government is saying in inclusive growth, whatever are the basic things like primary education, like primary healthcare related facilities, basic transportation, government is saying wo sab I will give first, which makes sense. The second thing which the government of India is saying here is that if I go by politics, I will come in front of public every day and I will tell the public, good days will come very fast. Nobody will be unhappy in India. Government is saying that these are not good things because it doesn't mean anything. These are rhetorics. So government is saying that this is wishful thinking, that nobody will ever have a problem in life. So it's not possible. If it is life, you will have problems. So government is saying that we should stay away from rhetorics and we should not make these kind of promises that, India will be trouble-free, India will be poverty free in 6 months. ऐसा नहीं हो सकता. So government of India is saying that I will not make rhetorics. I will be honest and I'll tell you that by in long term we can be free from poverty. India requires more effort to improve the health, to harness the youth power we need at least 4-5 years. Which means government is saying we should stay away from those things which are mere sayings. We should be more practical about things. Yes, second point. Third point. The government of India is saying sometimes we make promises to the society only to win elections. But कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं that we are, India will be a superpower, in next 6 months, we will destroy US. So government is saying, well, we can't destroy US. You know it because it's on self-destruct mode. How can you destroy something which is destroying itself? So India is saying we don't need to be destructive in life. We don't need to make populist statements. We should refrain from it. So government is saying that we should make only those kind of promises which we can deliver in the short term. And if something requires long term, we should tell it to the public that by we won't lie, it will take long term. So this is the third thing. So government is saying that we should stay away from populism. Yes, sab khud government is saying. It's like saying, I'll tell you on a lighter note, imagine that you are staying in Delhi and you are preparing for UPSC and your parents called you today and asked you that, so how are you? Ab you know that some gyan will come from that side. Study hard. Make use of time. Whatever you have studied in today's budget session, you should revise. Some parents will tell you. Focus on static, focus on current. Some parents will tell you. Before the parents start to tell you this, khud hi aap bolte ho. You start saying this. The moment your parents call you, like mom and dad will call you and tell you, hello, how are you? You will say, I should study hard. I don't think I should make rhetorics. I don't think I should make populist promises. Parents will tell you, oh, very nice. So where did you go? What did you do today? So that you are talking like this. You will say, it's a new kind of feeling which is inside me. I have become more practical. So we have become more practical. We understand things now, right? So that is what we are doing. Khud hi bata rahe hain that we should refrain from populism, etc. So we should be more practical. Ab dekho, if you ask me, is it a good thing to say these things? Yes. I will judge you by action, of course, but I will also judge you by your speech because your action will come after your speech. If you say wrong things, you will do doubly wrong things. So I believe that if government is saying that I don't want to indulge in populism, welcome. Now we'll watch you. So should we be judgmental? No, I don't think so. Jaise, if I ask you kids that, are you giving your best? Of course you are. But can you improve your best? Yes, that is called capacity building. Can you give better than what you are giving today? 100% yes. Why not? But if I ask you that, Bacho, are you ready to work hard? And if your answer is no, what will happen? A mini heart attack. But if I ask you, are you ready to work hard? Your answer is yes. Should I judge you that, nahi, you are just saying, no, I will not. I'll say that, let me wait because my kid is saying that they will work hard. Of course they will work. I'll have trust on you. But wahi cheez here, the government is saying that I don't want to be confused. Number two, the government is saying that reforms are important over rhetoric. And then the government is saying populist things should be avoided. But these three are the pillars on which the government is saying inclusive growth will happen. Matlab, don't promise, but be more practical and promise those things which are possible in short term and tell the society that these things are possible in long term. Don't promise everything in short term. Take time, deliver slowly. Likhe, please. Please write point number 1. So, action should be more sorted. SORTED. Action should be more sorted. Action should be more sorted. What is the meaning of sorted? Well, don't be confused. Be precise what you want to achieve. Action should be more sorted. Number 2, please write that reforms should be prioritized. Reform should be prioritized. Prioritized. Matlab it should be priority. Reform should be the priority. Third, please write people-centric approach. People-centric approach. People-centric approach. ठीक है बच्चों? And as I told you that, बहुत ध्यान से सुनना बच्चों. What will happen is if suppose somebody is giving you some idea about the budget, they will read this and they will start to criticize the government or praise the government. Do we need to do all those things? करना है क्या वो सब? No, we don't need to. We are not here to praise the government. We are not here to criticize the government. We are here to study what is the promise, and we are here to study that what is the relevance of this promise. and always be positive about things in life. हो सकता है that somebody is not able to deliver to you as per expectation, etc. But in your exam preparation, one should not be judgmental. कोई जरूरत नहीं है. We need not be judgmental. We can just read and we can see, okay, this is what the government is telling me. I will judge you in the next 5 years. Done. Over. That should be the mentality for exam preparation. This will make you more productive in your exam. अगर ना, if you put toxic in your mind that let me either support somebody or oppose somebody using these things, let me have a discussion for next 5 hours. क्यों भाई? For whom? Not required. So these are the things that we will do for exam purpose only. अब यहाँ पे आओ, see what is the government doing? Government is saying these are the 3 approaches which I am going to follow. Approach going to follow for what? We are going to follow this approach to achieve inclusive growth. फिर the government is saying now my aim is, this is the aim of the government. Government is saying I want to convert aspiration into achievement and potential into performance. What is the meaning of this? The meaning of both these things is called demographic dividend. So government is saying that people have aspiration. Government is saying that people have, some sort of potential. But unless we do capacity building, unless we use the demographic dividend, we cannot use the aspiration of the people. We cannot use the capacity of the people to convert it into good economic growth. So this is nothing but the harnessing or use of demographic dividend, this point. Now government is saying, we will be able to harness the power of people or demographic dividend only if 4 things are in place. Which are those 4 things which will help us to harness demographic dividend? Please likhiye, please write. Please write the next point. Please give a title. Demographic dividend, and its 4 supporting pillars. Its 4 supporting pillars. It's 4 supporting pillars. Which are the 4 supporting pillars? Government is saying without that, demographic dividend is not possible. Number 1 is stability. What kind of stability is the government talking about? Political, economic, and social. So please write number 1. What is the first supporting pillar of demographic dividend? Stability. Put a dash and please write economic, social, and political. Economic, social, and political. आप ही बताओ जो, if government keeps on changing at center every year, are we going to have any stability in the policy? No, there will be chaos. A stable government is better than a frequent change of government. So, है ना, इसीलिए that stability is important in life. Number 2, fiscal discipline. What is the meaning of fiscal discipline? The meaning of fiscal discipline is that government of India should not waste its resources. So please write, avoid wasteful expenditure. Wasteful expenditure. If something is not required, don't do it. Avoid wasteful. I'll give an example. So, bachcho, for example, if government of India comes today and tells me that they are going to give me electricity subsidy to me, should I take it? I should not. In fact, government should not even offer. Dono cheeze. If they are offering, I should not take. But I'm a tropical country guy. I will definitely take it. Right. So, what should the government do? Government should make sure that wasteful expenditure should be avoided. Number 1. And number 2, please write and. So have you written wasteful expenditure should be avoided and the sources of revenue should be expanded. Sources of revenue should be expanded. Take example do. Can I give you example? I'll give you one example. But this example I'll teach you in detail in the next session. Today I'll just give you a basic example. Dhyan suna bachcho. Listen to it carefully. So imagine, one of your friend is saying freebies. Absolutely. Elections are coming, 20,000 rupees in every account. No need. Number 1, elections are. I remember somebody was telling me a story, a very hilarious story told by one of the students only. The student told, I'll not tell you the details of which election, etc. But in one of the elections, what happened is student told that, sir, we were walking in front of the college campus around 11 p.m. in the night. We were in the hostel. The student said that we stay in the hostel. DU. So the student said elections were coming, sir. So one person came with a vehicle, and from that vehicle they were taking out sarees and clothes, and they started to give sari to everyone. I said, why sari to you? He said, that's what we were wondering. So sari, then instead of sari, you could give us a t-shirt, right? So the person said, sir, one sari and 500 rupees. So these 700, 700. Right? So distributed. Wasteful expenditure. As I told you that we will not go into the details of which party is. Ye sab zarurat nahi hai. But these are the things that happens in the great festival of democracy called elections. These things should be avoided. ये सब avoid करना चाहिए. We should avoid it because it doesn't help the country, right? Number two, I'll tell you another example. So as I told you that abhi what is happening is our GDP is going okay. Whenever GDP is rising, what is your expectation? What should happen? The tax collection should improve with GDP or should go down? India's tax collection is going down with GDP. So there is a problem. So if our GDP is 100 rupees, earlier our tax collection used to be 11.4 rupees. Now our tax collection is 11.2 rupees. So which means that the government of India needs to be careful related to tax reforms, increasing the tax base, and government should be very careful about who is getting the rebates. Are the people who are corporates and big business houses, they are getting the rebates, or the people who actually deserve the rebate, they are getting the rebate? We should be careful. ये देखना पड़ेगा that who is getting the advantage and who is not paying the taxes. है ना? So tax base should also be increased, and we should be fair in our taxation. We should not put the burden of taxation only on certain segment of the society. So these are the things that come under a fiscal policy. So first, we should reduce the wasteful expenditure, number one. Number two, the government of India should increase the sources of revenue, and tax reform should be created in a justified manner which promotes social justice. Aap socho, I want to ask you a question. If government of India says I am increasing GST, would you be happy? You should not be, because GST is regressive in nature. Because the potential impact of GST would be that GST is going to punish those people whose income is low. Because you are buying a toothpaste, you are paying the same GST. Some guy who is rich is buying the toothpaste, same GST. So if the government of India is saying I am going to create more dependence on direct taxes in India, so creating more dependence on direct taxes would mean you are progressive, theoretically speaking. So what kind of taxation should the government introduce? More of direct taxes. ये सब चीजें, this is the meaning of fiscal discipline, that in fiscal policy one should be more prudent, wasteful expenditure reduced, and sources of income or revenue increased. We'll see the details, don't worry. When I teach you the taxation part in the budget, I'll tell you the details. Here, what is moderate inflation? Should the inflation be too low or too high? Moderate. A very low inflation is good for producer, bad for producer. Very bad for producer because producer will not be motivated. So should we maintain an inflation of 1% or minus inflation? No. Should we kick out all the producers of India? Because they create jobs. They provide us goods and services. So should we have a mentality that producers are bad? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. If you are caring for consumer, you should care for producer also. That is what the equitable society is all about. That is what is called as social justice. Every section of the society should be taken care of. Because producers create the jobs, they create wealth, etc. They are also important. अच्छा एक और बात है. Imagine that today I am a slum dweller. I'm not having many opportunities in life, but these days you know that if I want, I can create a startup because there are so many goods and services that I can come up with. Some new crazy ideas can be there. And suppose one day I will become a successful entrepreneur. So when I was a slum dweller, you were having sympathy towards me. When I become an entrepreneur, will you kick me out? Ethical dilemma. Now you can't lambaste me. You can't say bad things about me because it's my own hard work. So should we be sort of having any regressive feeling towards any section of the society? Bilkul bhi nahi. That is not what we do. We are a mixed economy. We take care of everyone. So the government of India here is saying that inflation should be moderate so that consumers are not affected, and inflation should be moderate so that producers also have some sort of motivation to produce. Which theory of economics talks about the inflation and unemployment relationship? Phillips curve. It talks about the relationship between inflation and unemployment. ठीक है? So moderate inflation is important. तो आप एक लाइन लिख लो. Moderate inflation creates a balance for both producer and consumer. Creates a balance for both producer and consumer. Moderate inflation creates a balance for both producer and consumer. ये ठीक है? Is it okay? Creates a balance for both producer and consumer. इसलिए आप देखो बच्चों, the word low inflation is not written here. And the next part is sustained growth. Why is sustained growth important? Why the word growth is not there? Consistency. Consistency. Because if you are jumping, just today you are here, tomorrow you are here, tomorrow you are down, that's called volatility. And you should not be volatile in life. Even if you are having little low growth, be consistent, then slowly increase. So यहाँ पे आप लिखो, sustained growth means consistent growth. It means consistent growth. Sustained growth means consistent growth. Now there are only two more things which I'll cover today. This I will read from here. and tomorrow we'll start the explanation of the numbers, etc. यहाँ पे ध्यान से देखो, see carefully, look carefully बच्चों. What is this? ये क्या लिखा है? Pillars of growth and development. This can come in mains. In UPSC mains, this will not come in prelims. In UPSC mains, they will ask you the question that discuss the pillars of growth and development as mentioned in the budget 2026. So which are the pillars? इसको पढ़ते हैं. Let us read the pillars. The first is called as sustaining economic growth. It's already there in your handout. Sustaining means consistency. Number two, strengthening the foundations of growth. This is very important. What is the meaning of foundation of growth? The foundation of growth means that agriculture, industry, and services should contribute as per their potential. So आप लिख लो, sectoral balance to be established. Sectoral balance to be established. So बच्चों, it should not happen that we should only promote services. Sectoral balance to be established. What is the meaning of sectoral balance? Agriculture, industry, and services. All the three to be promoted. So sectoral balance to be established. What is the third one called as? People-centric development. What is the meaning of people-centric development? So development which improves my capacity and also is inclusive. So please write capacity building plus inclusive in nature. Capacity building plus inclusive in nature. We have to include everyone, right? And you have to keep building my capacity also. Capacity building and inclusive. What is trust-based governance? I told you that there are three things which the government is talking this year that I will not be confused. Then the government is saying that I will create policies which are achievable, first of all. And third, government is saying that I will not indulge in anything which is populist. I'll be more practical and pragmatic. And then the government is saying, I will do all these things, but you need to trust me. That you need to give me time, you need to be, tolerant with me so that I get an opportunity to deliver these things. Easily they are writing that trust-based governance. Because if you become restless, but basically on a lighter note, the government of India is worried about Gen Zs. Right? We have seen the example of Sri Lanka, etc. On a lighter note. On a serious, Nepal. On a, देखो, Gen Zs know this. On a lighter note, you don't write all this in the exam. Government is scared of Gen Zs. You don't write. Right? So what is the meaning of trust-based government is that, please write that people and government should have mutual trust. People and government should have mutual trust. And then, bacho, there is ease of doing business and ease of living, which means that we should not make the life of people difficult. Regulation should be people and business friendly. Ye likh lo, please write. Regulations should be friendly to people and business. Friendly to people and business. And what is this fiscal matter? Fiscal matters means that government should try to increase revenue. Government should try to reduce unnecessary expenditure. Can you tell me what is unnecessary expenditure called as sometimes? Revenue expenditure. But not all revenue expenditure. Non-development. Some revenue expenditure which does not lead to development. Unnecessary populist things which the government does. So government itself is saying that I will not do this. तो इसको पता है क्या लिख सकते हो? You can use a nice term called as responsible fiscal policy. Please write. I have taken this term from budget only. Responsible fiscal policy. Responsible fiscal policy. If somebody will ask you, ये क्या होता है? What is responsible? So tell them increasing revenue and reducing unnecessary expenditure. That is called as responsible fiscal policy. And do not borrow too much. Borrowing too much is also dangerous. So in responsible fiscal policy, what do? Increase the revenue, reduce the unnecessary expenditure, and you control your borrowings. So these are the three things that you do. यहाँ पे fiscal matter. What is this? You see the first point. First point में क्या लिखा है? What is written in the first point? Sustaining economic growth, which means our economic growth should be stable and consistent. What is our economic growth currently? Rate of growth of economy roughly around 7%. So government is saying we should be able to maintain the first point. Here देखो, the first point government is saying I will maintain through this approach. This is the first point. So how is the government planning to maintain a 7% rate of growth? Let's read these points one by one. This is for the first point. So let's read it. First is government is saying that there is something called citizens benefit from government action. So government is saying that if I create some policies, it should benefit everyone and the targeted group specifically. Jaise, if the government is creating schools for rural India, they should not give one school to a big village area and say that everybody has to come. Maybe more schools are required in a rural India, because suppose that there is a village or there is one rural area which is slightly, having a good geographical coverage. Wahan pe those schools, they do give them 2 schools. So government is saying that I should not only fulfill my promise, but my promise should actually benefit the society. So yahan pe they are saying citizens should benefit from the government action. Number 2, a strong thrust on public investment. When I give you the details of the budget, you will see that I will show you one figure. I will show you in the next class itself. It's there in your handout already, that the GDP of India is able to maintain itself at around 7%, not on the basis of private investment, but on the basis of private plus government investment. When the government realized last year that things are not okay, government increased the expenditure on infrastructure. This clearly comes from the data. So government of India is saying that my thrust on public investment will never stop. If the economy is not doing well, I will invest. Public investment in infrastructure and capacity building. So government is saying I will follow a mixed economy model where government and private both invest. The third part is called monetary stability. Everywhere we are using stable things. Monetary stability, moderate inflation. We are not saying expansionary monetary policy. We are saying stable policy. If you have reduced the rate, let the rate be little low for some time. Don't jump immediately, reduce the rate, immediately increase the rate. Yes, consistency in monetary policy. The next point is called fiscal prudence. Fiscal prudence means you increase your sources of revenue and you reduce your unnecessary expenditure and you control your borrowings. This is called fiscal prudence. Far-reaching structural reform. Structural reform kya hota hai? What is the structural reform? Meaning of structural reform? What is the difference between a normal reform and a structural reform? So structural reforms are those reforms which bring changes at a macro level in terms of sectoral changes. So structural reforms are more macro in nature and normal reforms might be micro. For example, if I give educational loan to students, that's micro reform. But if I'm creating a policy for entire youth, that's a structural reform. So please likh lijiye, write somewhere. A structural reform refers to those reforms which bring sectoral changes. Example? Yeah, labor reform. Because whole labor force got changed. Absolutely. Labor reforms. GST reform. Labor reform, GST reform. Now, please come back here and see. Reduced critical import dependence. Has the government of India done something for that? Reduce the dependence on critical imports. Have we created a new concept in this year's economic survey and budget? What is the name of that? Strategic indispensability. And how many sectors have been included there? Brilliant. This is your takeaway from the lecture, that this is not a normal term. This is a very specific term. And the government is saying that I'm going to make sure that on the critical areas, I don't depend on others over a period of time. It's a good thing. The next part is called energy security. As I told you that without energy, industrialization, agriculture, services, nothing possible. So energy security and domestic manufacturing capacity. How do you improve the domestic manufacturing capacity? By giving industries to specific areas, like there should be one factory in this area, another factory 10 kilometers away. Aise? No. What should be the best model of industrialization? Cluster. What is the meaning of cluster? The meaning of cluster is, for example, you take a geographical region and you create similar type of factories you establish in one area. Why? Suppose that you are manufacturing, let's say here you are manufacturing mobile phones in this area. So all the industries which manufacture mobile phone, all the factories, they use similar type of raw material and they produce similar type of output. If you create cluster like this, group like this, it's easy for the government of India to provide inputs, and it is easy that when the product is ready, you can do marketing also. So marketing becomes easy, production becomes easy. This is called cluster. So in India, which is the model that we are currently pursuing, and in this year's economic survey and the budget, government has said we are going to follow more of cluster model, so that regional development can also happen and one type of industry should be located in one area. This will improve our manufacturing capacity. Cluster model is the model that India is going to follow. So These are the things, bacho, for today. Now, tomorrow when we meet in the lecture, my plan is to teach you these things. Here on a table. You can see this table in your handout. If you open, let me see if I have the handout. Page number what? 3. So, bacho, tomorrow I'll give you, so you please bring this handout. It is important. You can see page number 3, I have given you some figures. Here we will revise some static area also, and we will see which numbers to pick from here. If you follow this entire page, it will become so difficult and almost like next to impossible to memorize. We don't need to. From here, we just need to take 6 numbers, only 6 numbers, and we are done. And those 6 numbers we will use in prelims, mains, interview, everywhere. From the next page, as you can see, it's incomplete. This is the page which you will have to fill in the class in my presence, and I will give you my answer so that we can match. So we will tomorrow do little exercise here. As I told you, tomorrow's session is online, so you please keep your handouts ready. And in online mode also, you behave as if you are sitting in front of me. Be responsible and be passionate about learning. You will definitely learn. Next page, aap dekho. Page number, I'll tell you. Page number 5. You can see some blank space. In this blank space, I'll give you some dictations based on this picture. So, bacho, every picture tells a story. We do not need to memorize this picture at all. What do we need to do? We need to bring out some important point, make notes, and be done for the exam. You come to next page, page number 6. What if I tell you something interesting? This whole page number 6 can be converted into 4 sentences. Done. And I want to train you in doing that, that if you see this page, it looks very daunting. बहुत difficult लग रहा है. It looks so engaging. But if you convert this whole page into 4 sentences, prelims is done. And this will not come in mains. So this is the reason I gave you these pictures. Up next में आओ, ये देखो page number 7. In page number 7, I have created a table for you. This table originally not given anywhere, so I just created it for you by picking up something important. देखो, there is a table. This table you have to convert into 2-3 sentences. Done. Do you have to memorize this? No. Do you have to convert this whole table on page number 7 into 2-3 lines? Yes. And then your preparation is done. It's a very important table. Now, if you see the next page, it's very crucial page. It is called CAPEX. And you understand capital expenditure is very important for a country like India. Last page, page number 9. This is something interesting, which so far has never been asked in UPSC, but it can be asked. So page number 9 is very crucial that we will do. At page number 10, though, it's like a ritual which we do every year. So these are the things that I'm planning to do in stage 1. And after tomorrow, we will see whatever is left, we'll do in the next session. So tomorrow, 5:30. But tomorrow we are going to have a session online for all of you. And let's see how the session goes tomorrow. Fir uske baad we'll plan for the next session. So guys, tell me, did you understand whatever we did today, the basics? So tomorrow we are going to become thoda technical. So I suggest something to you. Please come with a revision. Bacho, one task. You please come with a revision of fiscal deficit, revenue deficit, effective revenue deficit, primary deficit. Also come with the revision of what is the requirement of these deficits. So is fiscal deficit good or bad? Thoda sa wo dekh ke aaiye. Just read it from any source. You come in the class, I will make you learn all these things through numbers in the budget. वो करेंगे कल. Is it fine? So see you guys. Thank you so much, my online and offline kids, and see you tomorrow, guys. Huh? Thank you. Thank you so much.